Your hardest negotiation this quarter is most likely not with a top supplier or vendor, but it's most likely the one that you have down the hall with your very own colleagues, the internal negotiations. You know the people, the budget owner who smiles but never signs, the legal department that loves red lines more than they like outcomes, the technical folks that add three controls for every risk that they identified, operations that promises you the moon, but they call you when gravity shows up, or finance that maybe emails you a new number, a new budget 5 minutes before the call with the vendor and tells you to run with that new number. You see, we tend to prepare like pilots for the external vendor negotiations, but then we completely wing it inside the building when it comes to our colleagues. That's often where margin leaks. That's where the cycle time dies, and that's often where careers stall. But here's the fix. You should use the same process inside the organization that you use outside. The same preparation, the same way to ask, the same guardrails. And then you put one shared strategy across the whole organization so that vendors cannot play you off against yourself. No arbitrage. You do that and you stop the bleed. You'll speed up the deal and you'll buy back political capital. So let's start with the two traps that cause most of the pain when it comes to internal negotiation. The first one is that we assume that we are all aligned on our side, but we're not. You see, humans tend to naturally think that more people agree with them than actually do. The psychologists actually, they call this the false consensus effect. It's a real bias, and it often shows up in normal work. It definitely shows up in deals, and it's guaranteed to bite you if you will bet a live negotiation on it. You see, meetings add a second twist. Teams spend time on what everybody already knows when they prepare. They avoid the one awkward fact maybe that would change the choice. That is the common knowledge effect, right? It feels like progress, but it isn't. It's just groupthink with coffee. The second trap is that we tend to skip the hygiene factors. We skip the basics with our own people. With suppliers, we will frame first, we'll anchor first, we'll plan our asks, and you'll plan your trades. But inside the building, we rush, we take shortcuts, we rely on vibes, we ask for a favor in a chat thread, or maybe we inherit somebody else's number, somebody else's date, someone else's risk, and then we're stuck. You see, anchors matter. The first credible number pulls the room towards it. It's almost like it has gravity. This is one of the best known effects in decision science. It shows up repeatedly again and again. Frames matter. The same facts can drive a safe choice or a risky one. And it depends entirely on the frame. If you don't frame the internal choices, the internal negotiations, then somebody else will. Then you'll end up defending their plan with your budget. So the best move is to treat internal negotiations as real negotiations. You should use a tight playbook. Invest at least 10 minutes of preparation that will save you weeks of repair. And yes, there's even research data that small checklists change outcomes when teams work under pressure. A simple 19-item checklist cuts surgical harm in a significant study. Not an example necessarily from our world, but the lesson stands. And that is that shared checklists reduce errors. Here's an 8-point playbook that you can follow practically. You should use it before your next big supplier touch points. So firstly, map the internal stakeholders within your organization by incentives, not by their titles. List the people who can say yes, the people who can slow a yes, the people who can maybe veto after the fact. And for each one, write one simple line. What is a win on their scorecard? What do they fear? What do they need to show their boss? If you cannot write that line, book a 5-minute call with them. Ask them 3 questions. Ask them, what would make this a win on your side? What concerns you? What worries you? And lastly, if we got stuck, where do you think it would be? You see, the internal work is its own negotiation, and it links directly to how you perform in the outside one. The bigger the organization, the stronger that link is. Second key point is to set your internal BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement, which is your walkaway point. If this path dies next week, what will be real? Name the hit to quality, name the hit to timelines, the cost delta, put it on paper. This is how you'll block the late night message from the executive team that says you need to just make it happen. You see, you cannot make fantasy happen, but you can make a real plan happen. Okay, third point, frame the decision. Write down one clear paragraph and make it the first words in every preparation session. Here's an example. for instance. This deal protects gross margin for the next 18 months by locking in price and service levels. We'll keep control on volume, and the risk that we face here is change order creep, but our guardrails, our policies should handle that. You see, you say that, and you prime the whole room. That's how frames work. Fourth point, anchor first inside the team. Share the targets, share the guardrails, share the order of the trades, put the numbers on paper. If finance or operations drops a soft number first, their math becomes the truth by repeat. Anchors stick. Make them yours. Fifth point, script your trades, right? 3 things that you can give. The price associated with each. Order them from least costly to most costly. Never give 2 concessions in a row without a trade of equal value. Use the same rule with colleagues. Okay, the 6th point is to pre-wire the outliers. You already know who can block this deal internally, right? Meet with them one-to-one. Let them talk first. Name their concern even better than they can. Maybe offer them 2 options that both keep the mainframe intact. You see, people will fight what surprises them, and they will support what they help shape, so involve them early. The 7th point is to run what I call a pre-mortem. Put the team in a room and get them to imagine that the deal has failed. Now list the reasons, and then wire in the counters. You see, this lowers blind spots, but it also makes it safe for you to voice the risk before the heat is on. It's a simple and well-known method that's used to secure threats before you get to the table. 8th point is to just use a simple 10-minute hygiene check before any supplier call. Ask some questions. Do we have shared targets? Who frames first? What is our first credible anchor? What will we ask for? What are we prepared to trade? At what price? Where do we pause and where do we reconvene? Who's going to own notes and follow-ups? You see, it's simple but not simplistic. This stops accidental yeses and saves leverage. And the checklist effect is real. Shared checks help teams do complex work with many fewer errors. So do the preceding 8 steps and the room will stop fighting you. Deals will stop dying in the last mile, and your vendors will hear one voice from your organization. Now, let's close the second door. The organization-wide negotiation strategy. You see, even elite negotiators will lose if the company is not aligned internally. If business units run different plays, then you invite arbitrage, divide and conquer, right? Vendors will go hunting for arbitrage. They'll find a softer landing, and then they'll use it against you. So here are 2 moves that can end that game. The first one is to publish a 1-page negotiation strategy for the whole company, for the whole team. Not a binder, just 1 clear page. How we frame value, how we set targets, how we anchor and trade, when we walk away. What are the escalation rules, cool-off rules? What are the templates that anybody can use? You see, the aim is not red tape, but the aim is to increase leverage. The second move is to bake the process into your supporting tools, right? Use one approval path, one set of words across sourcing, legal, finance, and the business units. And you can add light digital guardrails using tech today, right? That'll make you run faster and leaner, and you'll cut off contract leakage, guaranteed. Okay, so let's make this week count. Go ahead and pick one live negotiation that matters to you. Go ahead and build the internal stakeholder map by incentives. Remember, if you can't write down one line for each person, then get in a 5-minute call and ask them. Write down the frame. Share it with your colleagues. Get the budget owner and finance to nod or agree on the targets and on the walkaway. Remember to anchor first with your numbers and your reason. Put it down on paper. Rehearse the first line out loud. Pre-wire the 2 outliers. Offer 2 options that keep the frame intact. Remember to run the pre-mortem and name the top 3 failure modes. Plan your counters. Freeze your 3 trades with the price of each. If you can't price it, it's not a trade, but it's a gift. And you're not Santa. Then, before each vendor touch, run the hygiene check every single time. You may think this is overkill for internal negotiations, but it isn't. The moment money moves, an internal chat becomes part of the negotiation. If you do not frame and anchor internally, you will react to someone else's frame and someone else's anchor. And anchors stick. Frames tend to bend choices. And groups hide key facts unless you surface them. See, this is how people decide. Use it to your advantage. You may think that you're already aligned, but show me the page with the common targets, with the walkaway and the trades. You see, if it's not written and repeated, it's not alignment. It's hope, and hope is not a plan. You wouldn't let a supplier wing it, right? So don't let your own team wing it internally, right? You may think that you don't have time for it, but in reality, you do not have time to redo a bad deal. 10 minutes of preparation can easily save 10 hours of repair. You see, the checklist proof is strong. Use it to your advantage. Apply it with discipline, and remember that anchors and frames are forces of nature. Set them or live inside someone else's. Assume nothing. Make sure you frame first and you anchor first, and you trade with price. Pre-wire the outliers, run the checklist, and standardize the strategy, closing the door to arbitrage. You see, when you do this, the outside negotiation will get way easier because your team will speak with one voice. Your asks will be crisp and your trades will land. Your pause rules will stop panic giveaways. You'll feel the pressure drop and you'll see the numbers move. Fewer surprises, faster cycle time, cleaner contracts, less leakage, and ultimately much more trust. If you want a fast start, bring me into your next live deal. The free negotiation margin index negotiation simulation call will size the dollars at risk in your approach and name your top 3 internal leak drivers. Then we'll fix them inside the next 90 days in the elite negotiation sprint. Your move.